Okay, artist friends, let's color. So I have my Campbell soup can. I've traced everything in Sharpie, and I've used my plastic eraser to erase all of my pencil guidelines. So if you haven't done that yet, erase all of your pencils so we don't see that. And all we're left with is those beautiful block letters. Okay, now don't worry about this over here, my fleur-de-lis practice, because when I'm done coloring this today, we're gonna cut this out and we're gonna mount it on another colored paper. Watercolor pencils are really good for smaller areas, but because the background's so big and we want it really bold, I think the best way to do that is just to cut this out and glue it onto another paper. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about watercolor pencils. Okay, now I'm going to show you a couple different ways you can use these. First of all, you can just simply, get yellow here, you can simply just color in with them like a colored pencil. But the great thing is you don't have to go all the way to the edges because the water does that for you. So I'm going to come up here. Now you can copy the colors that Andy Warhol did. Now, can you see how I'm not being absolutely careful? This is if you had regular colored pencils, you would have to color all the way to the edge. But my water is going to take this to the edge. So really I'm pressing with kind of a firm pressure so that I can get the pigment down, but the water is going to do the rest. So just kind of get the pigment in there. Let's come down here. So again, you can probably see this a little better than the yellow. Like if I just make sure I have enough pigment, I don't have to go to the edges. So I'm going to kind of come in here and get my pigment down. I know this looks messy, but I'm telling you, these watercolor pencils is kind of fun. You can actually do things pretty quickly with this. So you don't have to be perfect. Okay, so let's kind of just get that so far so I can show you. Okay, now, if you were to use a brush, in fact, I want to show you something. Okay, so if you had some color and then you were using your watercolor pencils and you got a brush and water, this is what I don't love. So I've got this, but then I can still see, if I spread it out enough, I can get rid of those pencil lines, but sometimes when we go over and over and over on our paper with the water, then we kind of make a hole. I don't want to see those pencil lines, so I actually like using a Q-tip better. I feel like you have a little bit more control. So I'm going to dip my Q-tip, and I'm just going to squish it a little bit to get some of the water out. And then I'm going to use it over here. Now this is where it really makes it nice and bold. Look at that, how bold that is. And it goes right to the edges. So see what I mean, how you didn't have to color perfect? Isn't this great? It's like a shortcut. And it also stays a lot brighter. If you were using watercolor paints and dipping your brush each time, they would get a little bit watered down and you wouldn't see how bold this is. So I really think these are super fun. It's a fun material to use because you get a brighter color and it's just something different than we've done before. So we've got that. And then I'm going to use you don't want to use the same Q-tip for different colors because that'll blend together. So I'm going to hurry and get this yellow. And then I want to show you one other way that you can use your watercolor pencils. Isn't that great? How it just fills in? I love it. Okay, so what you can also do is get a separate piece of paper. So I think I'll do my little symbol here, okay? So I'm going to get a separate piece of paper and I'm going to make it into a palette. So I'm pressing pretty hard and I'm going to get some green and maybe like different colored green and blue, and let's just say my road's going to be, okay. All right, so I made a palette on my paper. Now I can take my Q-tip in the water and then I can pick up this and bring it right over to here. Isn't that awesome? So we're using the watercolor pencils, but we're not even drawing on there. We're just picking up the pigment with our wet Q-tip, and then we're placing it on our drawing. So I think you should try both for that. Now let me show you another thing. If you want to blend colors, you need to put them both down at the same time. So I want this to be a lighter green. So I'm going to throw some yellow down. Again, not to the edges because we don't have to. So great. And then I'm going to throw some green in here. you want to, if you're mixing colors, you want to put them all down first before you get it wet. Once you get it wet, they're going to blend together, and it's hard to go on top of it again. Like if I wanted to go on this again, it wouldn't show up as good. So you have to do it before that. So I've got green and yellow, and now I'm taking this wet, and then look at how awesome they blend together. Isn't that cool? Okay, so why don't you work on yours for a minute? I'm going to work on mine, and then I'll kind of fast forward, and you can see kind of just those finishing things. So I'll keep on working on mine, and you work on yours. Okay, so, all right, so I've laid a bunch of color down, and I'm going to take my Q-tip. So you can see that I went on the side, and I used the side of my pencil so I could get a lot more down. And now I'm going to take that Q-tip and be able to take it to the edges. So I kind of like to do the edges first and then come in the middle. And you'll probably have to wet your Q-tip a couple times as you do this. So you'll want to do this on the top part and on the bottom part. And make sure to color your lid, the top of the lid and the very bottom here with the same color, and it could be any color because this is pop art. So they're taking popular items but doing it in a different way. So you can choose any color you want today and get this all filled in. So that's kind of that's the way to do the larger areas. And then let's just get this top part in up here. So isn't that great? You just lay down that color, but you just bring your Q-tip with some water, and it just takes it to all the edges. Okay. I want you to keep on going. I am going to let you do your own. I don't want to go all the way here with you because I want you to make it your own, but I want to make sure you color in every single part of this. And then when you're done, I want you to take your scissors and cut as close to the edge as you can. So you're right next to the black. So let me just cut this out real quick so you can see. Okay, and then you can choose whatever color you want to glue it on. Now the reason I chose yellow is because I've got this purple, and if it's all finished, I would have a lot of purple, and then I think I'm going to do like a blue right here. So you want to pick one of your biggest areas and pick the complementary color to that for your background so that it really pops. So purple and yellow complementary. So then I would just take my glue stick and glue this down. And when you glue it down, you want to make sure that you center it right on your paper. And get it all pressed down nice. And then the last thing you always want to do with your masterpiece is find a place to sign your name. All right, artist friends, I will meet you back at Let's Review so that we can talk a little bit about Andy Warhol and pop art and see if we did everything to make sure that we made the best masterpiece we can. All right, I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.